All right, so you're diving into the MYP Personal Project. Awesome. You've got your topic, you're fired up, and you've been assigned a supervisor. Okay, but what does that actually mean? What do they do? Are they just there to grade you? Are they a coach? Let's figure it out, because honestly, they're probably the most important person on this whole journey with you.
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, right? It can be kind of confusing. Is their main job to help you, or is it to make sure you don't mess up? Well, the truth is, it's a little bit of all of that. And trust me, getting a handle on their real role is pretty much the secret to knocking this project out of the park. Okay, so if you look at the official definition, it's actually pretty simple. A supervisor is a guide. Their entire purpose is to support you from start to finish. So right off the bat, try to shift your thinking. They're not just a judge waiting at the finish line. Nope, they are your dedicated resource for this whole thing.
Now, to really understand what they do, the best way to think about it is like this. Your supervisor wears 3 different hats. Seriously. And each hat represents a totally different but super important part of their job. Once you know the 3 hats, everything else just clicks into place.
So what are these 3 hats? Well, first you've got the guide. That's your partner in the trenches. Then there's the guardian, the one who makes sure everything is on the up and up. And finally, the assessor. Yeah, the one who does the grading. We're going to break down exactly what each of these means for you. So let's start with the first hat, the guide.
All right, hat number 1, the supervisor as your guide. Now, this is the role you're probably going to interact with the most. This is your supervisor as your mentor, your sounding board, your partner in the process. They're the one who's there to help you take that spark of an idea and turn it into a real finished project.
And this is where things get super practical. As your guide, they'll give you the project guidelines and help you map out a schedule so you don't fall behind. Crucially, they'll explain the assessment criteria right from day one. They'll also give you advice on what kind of evidence you should be collecting for your journal, and really importantly, they'll push you to go deeper, to analyze and reflect, not just describe what you did. Oh, and that formative feedback they give you along the way, it's absolute gold.
Okay, so that's the guide hat. Now let's switch gears to the second one, which is just as crucial, the guardian. This role is a bit more serious. It's all about upholding the integrity of the project. We're talking about making sure everything is done properly, safely, and most of all, honestly. It's not just about protecting the rules. It's also about protecting you.
So what does that mean? Well, it's their job to make sure your work is ethically sound and academically honest. They're going to check that you're not doing anything unsafe or breaking any rules about, say, confidentiality. And a massive part of this role, it's making sure the work is 100% yours. They're your safeguard against accidentally wandering into plagiarism territory or any other kind of academic no-no.
And this is a big deal. I mean, just think about this for a second. At the very end, your supervisor has to literally sign a form that confirms the authenticity of your work. They are putting their name on the line, telling the IB, yep, this student did this work themselves. So they're not just a guide, they're the official verifier of your academic honesty. All right, and that brings us to the third and final hat, the assessor. Okay, deep breaths. Yes, this is the part where they grade your project. Your supervisor is the one who formally evaluates your work. But, and this is a big but, it's really not as scary as it might sound. Why? Because it's not just their opinion. It's a really structured and fair process. Let me show you how it works. First, they take those official criteria, remember, the same ones they talked you through when they were wearing their guide hat, and they apply them to your work. See how it all connects? Then, they don't just decide on a grade in a vacuum. Nope. They meet with all the other supervisors to standardize and make sure that a 7 for you is the same as a 7 for someone else. It keeps everything fair. And only after all that do they submit your final score. So, there you have it. The guide, the guardian, and the assessor. How do all these pieces fit together? Well, when you put all 3 hats on one person, you don't get a confusing mess. You get a complete support system, all designed with one goal in mind, helping you succeed. So if there's one thing you take away from all this, let it be this. Your supervisor is not just a grader. They're so much more. They are this incredible, multi-talented partner. They're guiding you, they're protecting you, and yeah, they're assessing you, but they're doing it fairly. Honestly, they are, without a doubt, your single most valuable resource on this entire journey. So, the ball is kind of in your court. Knowing what they do is step 1. The real question, the one that's going to make all the difference, is this. Now that you know all this, what are you going to do to build a really great partnership with them? How will you make the most of this resource to make your project absolutely amazing?